It's the 25th of May 2022, and this is video 45M, and it's on farming, trees and hedges. It's getting late in the evening and it's cold enough with a degree of wind out there. It's been dry at the moment, land is quite wet. Anyway, I just want to share with you a little bit of my experience with trees, and hopefully we'll go out and get a wee look at some of them. Now, trees are a huge problem. They're a huge problem. They're a bit like pregnancy. They're great fun setting them, but they're not so much fun harvesting them. But one of the big pushes in recent years has been the evergreen, and everyone seems to go for them because they look good, they're quick growing, and they're not thorny and all that, but they're an absolute disaster. They're an absolute disaster. They'll cause a red growth, fungus growth on concrete, especially where you have white concrete, white sand and white cement on a house with dash on it and pebbles on it. It will cause it to go red, and you have to spray it or paint it with moss grow, and then you have to get it off it with a power washer. It's a curse. If the trees get out of control, it's a dark, horrible thing. At least with an evergreen, or with an evergreen, you have no light in winter. With a tree that's deciduous, like an ash or an oak, or a tree that doesn't have leaves, in the winter time you have some light coming in. So I'm totally against these now, and I don't think anyone should use them. So one of the popular types of them is the Leylandi. I think it's Leylandi cypress is the right name, and some of them have a sport, kind of a white spot. It soon becomes a nuisance and they soon die away. So I'm just going to go out now to show you one of the things. And one of the things about them is, when you go to cut those evergreens, there's about 2 parts leaves and all of the big old bushes on the end for every 1 part of trunk. And it's the trunk you can burn. They will burn. All timber will burn mostly, but they will burn real well. But you have this problem. What do you do with all these bushes? How do you get rid of it? Now, I know there's a machine that will chop all this up. Hugely expensive, and you have a big pile of stuff. We're going to try and go out now just to look. And we're going to see a poplar tree as well. Now here you see the cuttings from an evergreen tree. And there's more down there. I'm not sure if you can see it. Just look at all this there. Up on the yard, right? Now here you see a poplar tree that was set 30 years ago, and it pushed up the driveway. It pushed up the driveway. As you can see, there's a bump in it there, and it was pushing up the curbs, and it was poisoned, and it's dead. See that? That tree is dead. Okay. Now here we have a cross section, a block cut from a poplar tree that was 32 years old when it was felled. 32 years old, and its diameter is 27 inches across. And there's another block cut out of it. Okay, that's poplar. Now folks, I think I managed that all right. I have to keep the front of the camera to it. You can't change it, you see, when you go out like that. But anyway, I've done the best I can. Now what you've seen there is a bundle of sort of withered cuttings from an evergreen tree, one big evergreen tree. And that's only about a quarter of what was carried away. Unbelievable stuff. Now you can burn them, but when they get very small, they're hard to cut, and they're tough. You won't cut them too easily, even with a silky saw, the little saw that's good for that. They're tough devils, and they're a nuisance really. I do generally dump them out somewhere on the farm. But if you haven't a farm, what do you do? They're just a nuisance. Now, you also saw the poplar tree there, and you saw the poplar, and it was killed. Now, what I kill it with is diesel oil mixed with Roundup. You can get variations of Roundup such as Clinic Up or Gallop. They'll all do just enough. Just put in about that much Roundup and about that much diesel oil. Now, calcium ammonium nitrate fertilizer that any farmer will have. You might even get it in shops, in garden centres, I don't know, CAN, is 35% nitrogen, and that will whip them as well. If you put that in pure, it'll kill anything. It'll kill a tree. It'll kill anything really like that. But anyway, I just go with the one I know, the bit of Roundup. Other fertilisers might work, and diesel oil. Some say diesel oil will work on its own, but that tree was killed with Roundup and diesel oil. And you need to go in. Well, I do normally go in two sides, one side and the other. If you, in some trees, especially a sycamore, if you only do one side, it'll only kill the trees, the leaves on that side, and the other ones will still stay. Anyway, in that case, I had to put an end to them because they were a danger to traffic, a danger to houses, and they were pushing up the driveway, as I showed you there. I hope you got that. Now, so what I'm saying is that hawthorn is one which should be considered. You can mix it with boxwood as fencing, even around a townhouse. Not so sure in a city, but leave it to people themselves. But don't use Leylandii. Use some other hedging, or look at it. Many garden centres have examples of it there. But I wouldn't outrule hawthorn. It's great for birds too, and it's a fantastic burning timber. Now the other thing there too, folks, is I mentioned poplar there, and poplars are fantastic timber in the right place. There were several of them home when I was young, and they're usually planted along a river, and they'd fall into the river, fall across the river, and the wildlife and badgers would use them, and the foxes, for going over and back. So poplar. Now, so they're great timber to burn. They make the floorboards of horses' carts out of poplar. It's very tough. They make matches out of poplar, and it's a great burning timber. And if you planted it, you could have a nice little tree for straining wire to in 12 years. You'd have a good tree, and you can, if you don't let it get too big and give it an odd topping, it should be a fantastic tree. On a farm, you need straining posts, and the earlier you set them, the better. It's unbelievable when you have to use nothing, only the purchase posts, the posts that only last 3 years, a lot of them, and you drive them down and they're gone in no time. And even that, they don't have the same straining power putting as the tree. A tree is a great thing, whether it's a big bush or a big tree. You can nail all types of things to it, and that's a great, every so often you have one of these. So if you had a poplar tree every 30 yards, now you'll pay between 7 and 11 to 12 euros depending on how old the tree is and all of that. But if you only had a few of them, I mean, 100 euros would put in a good few of them. Now, don't also rule out cherry blossom. Cherry blossom is not a bad tree on a farm too, here and there. It grows out, it doesn't grow up. It's also all right around the house because it doesn't grow up too high. It's a low type of tree, and they're the ones you want, and it's very decorative too. Mountain ash is quite okay too, and there's a yellow version of it, a sorbet mountain ash or rowan tree. But what I really want to get across there is, I think most people know, the evergreen Leylandiis. I'm sorry for being a bit hoarse. They're a cursed nuisance. My advice is have nothing to do with them. Get them out of there. And the other thing, if you have them already growing and you can't mind them every year, it's all right if you want to spend money every year. I know a person spends 2,000 a year having a few of them trimmed with a special machine. If you want to go that's all right. And then you see some people and they trim them lovely low down, and then they're gone wild up above. They're a nuisance as far as I'm concerned, unless you have the time to do that. Now, the thing about it is, and you might not always be in a position to do that. You miss a year, you're in trouble. So the other thing then is not to discount poplar trees around a place. You should have a few of them. They grow fast. They're a fantastic tree. They're great wood. They're very attractive tree. Birds won't nest in them, but they'll use them in the summertime. They survey all around. Birds find them very environmentally friendly like that. So they're a good all-round tree. They're not well known about. Poplar is the name of them. You'll get the right name of them there. But all the garden centres or the big centres nearly have them. They have them, and if you buy them fairly small, they'll be coming on. Again, if cattle get eaten them, I don't know. You might want to go a bit bigger. Generally speaking, all trees will suffer if cattle trim them, but they'll usually come on anyway, or you can put a bit of wire around them or whatever for a couple of years. Anyway, that's my say there inside 10 minutes, folks. I think I've covered everything, and yeah, it can be a huge problem. I mean, if you have evergreens overgrown and out of control, and no sunlight can get in, even in the summer, and you have this cold, damp feeling, they're shocking yokes. and if you're lucky enough, as some people do, get rid of the whole shooting gallery. Not that easy done. Folks, we'll let you go on that. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down on my little take on trees and bushes. Bye bye, and we'll see you back for something else.